everyone, my name is Sam.
And my name is Ryan.
And welcome to our channel. Now, before we get into whether theater people suck or not, this video is sponsored by Hungry Root. Again!
Hungry Root is the online grocery service that makes it easy to eat healthy.
And it's Bailey approved.
You tell them a little bit about yourself by taking an easy online quiz, and Hungry Root recommends fresh groceries and simple recipes tailored to how you eat. First 100 people to use our code SAMRYAN40 will get 40% off your first grocery order with Hungry Root.
I've loved using Hungry Root. It made cooking much less intimidating and helped me actually use the food that's in my fridge.
Living in New York is as busy as it seems. I'm always on the go. I'm rarely at home. Hungry Root lets me not have to worry about taking so many trips to the grocery store. They have simple, fast recipes that make meal prepping so easy. As a diabetic, I have to be very choosy about what I eat at times. Hungry Root has helped me stay on track with that. So if you have dietary needs, Hungry Root is there for you in that way too.
Sometimes I tell myself I don't have enough time to cook, but Hungry Root puts together such simple and easy recipes that I really don't have that excuse anymore.
Use the link in the description or scan the QR code and use code SAMRYAN40 to get 40% off. Thank you again, Hungry Root, for sponsoring this video, and now into the ethically sourced and conveniently shipped meat and potatoes of this video. Come on, that was good, I thought.
That was really good. I really liked it. So if you're watching this video and you're a fan of the Sam and Ryan channel, you're probably like, do theater people suck? What, are they talking about me? Likely not. When we say theater people, we're talking about what I would say kind of like two very specific types of people. As a lot of you know, I was just in New York. I guess I say just, it was in December, but I saw Wicked. And I had quite the experience seeing Wicked. The show itself was fantastic, but those theater people, as in the people in the theater, sucked. I talked about this a little bit on my Instagram and then in another video here, but when I say I have not experienced an audience this bad, I mean it. Yes, it was tourist season. Yes, Wicked is a long-running show that a lot of people probably just like get handed off tickets to and they don't really know or care but go anyway. But oh my god, I feel like there were no excuses for what happened. So I treat myself to some orchestra seat tickets because this was like a Christmas gift to myself, seeing my favorite show, so thrilled. I sit down and I'm so ready to go. I'm locked in. Then these four drunk blah-blahs. I'm stealing that from you, Ryan. I fully have stolen that from you, and I hope you're okay with it.
You know, it's an honor to be represented in such a way. I rest in peace to the term soup that we have used to censor ourselves, but if that's your preferred method of censorship, who am I to argue?
Yeah, I feel like soup didn't have enough emphasis on it. I feel like the like blah blah really like gets it, you know? Anyway, it's this double date night situation behind me. And I know that we are off to a horrible start when they're filing in behind me and one of the drunk guys says, "Oh, are they topless in this one?"
What?
Yeah. So I immediately was like, honestly, there was so much of me that was just gonna immediately turn around and be like, shut up. Like, yes. No, they're not. So they're all drunk and babbling, and I'm kind of like, all right, hopefully they still, you know, chill out, because the girls, it sounded like they were fans of Wicked and that they were like really excited to see the show. So I was like, all right, maybe they'll all calm down when the show starts. No, they did not. If anything, they got worse because they talked the whole time, like all through Act 1 they were talking. And of course, they started singing. They started singing along. And the second they started singing, it made me like flashback to like when they sat down. And again, this was another moment where I was like, I wish I would have said something. Because when they sat down, one of the girls was like, ooh, I can't wait to hear Popular. Like, okay, sing along with me, like when it's going. Like fully said that she was like planning on singing. And I wish at that moment I would have turned around and been like, yeah, same, love that. Please don't do that. But I didn't, because I thought that they were joking. Turns out they weren't. Truly, the most mortifying moment was defying gravity. Because when I say that this woman was singing along, I mean, she was full. So if you care to find me, locked in the western like at that volume. And obviously, like, it's a loud theater and whatever, so there was definitely, like, a way to try and tune it out, but I was seething. There are so many more details that I could get into. I won't, but it just genuinely was so mind-boggling that it took all of Act 1 and then some into Act 2 for any member of that group to, like, finally say to the others, like, hey, like, be quiet. Like, hey, be quiet. Like, eventually it was, like, the other guy started telling everyone to, like, shut up. But guess what? Then I was just listening to him say, shut up, stop, 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 stop. And it's like, it felt like there was no escaping. I was so angry. I literally DM'd Mackenzie, who is currently Glinda, during intermission, just to be like, hey girlie, so sorry that this is your audience, because oh my God. And she was like, you wouldn't believe it. Like, I have seen so many phone flashes going off this show so far. It was just such a bad experience.
I don't even know what to say about all of that. First of all, to hear you say that it sounded like these women were like fans of the show breaks my heart a little bit, because you can't even give them the like infinitesimally small benefit of the doubt that like maybe they've just never done this before or don't really know what they were experiencing. Like, they knew exactly what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were signing up for. It just sounds like they got wasted. Which, again, it's like, it's not a baseball game. Like, this isn't something that you come to be like rowdy and loud. It's something that you like, I mean, maybe this is some people's jam, but like, I don't even know people who get wasted and go to the movies. For some reason, theater just gets this like free pass to get wasted and do whatever you want, all the way down the spectrum of people who have gone to the theater before or people who have never experienced theater. For some reason, they still behave this way, even though regardless of how much theater experience you have as a theater goer, it seems to me to just be common sense.
And that's the thing, like, because this was one comment that they made that always just, like, grinds my gears. It's like, you know, I feel like when you are signing up for a communal experience, you kind of have to acknowledge, like, there are other people here trying to enjoy the show. When one of the guys was telling the other to be quiet, like, because obviously I was doing all of the passive aggressive, like, you know, kind of like quick look backs, like, I was giving them the most that I could. So of course there was a moment where one of the drunk guys goes like, I don't care, we paid $3,000 to be here. And it's like, okay, we all paid to be here. All of us paid to see this show. The show isn't being put on for you. And yeah, it's not a concert. That's like something that I feel sometimes gets convoluted. And honestly, when I mentioned the idea of us doing this video in another Sam and Ryan video, a lot of the comments, like, someone brought up an interesting point, and I'm interested to hear your opinion on this, Ryan. Like, how does theater etiquette shift when it is a show like 6, where it's set up like a concert, and at a lot of parts of the show, they're kind of like encouraging you to, like, you know, get loud, sing along. Like, I could see how sometimes there's like a confusing experience for a theater goer.
Yeah, I don't think that there's anything confusing about it. I think that you participate if you're invited to participate, and if you aren't invited to participate, you shouldn't. And as a matter of fact, the notion that you should be orderly, that you should turn off your phones, that you should keep quiet, that you shouldn't disrupt your neighbors, like, all of these things are said in the pre-show speech. So the invitation to be orderly and to sit back and relax and enjoy quietly your experience at the theater, that invitation is made. It's just blatantly and obviously ignored. And I think that what it really comes down to at the end of the day is this semblance of privilege. Listen, I, in a sense, can understand where this person is coming from when he says, I paid $3,000 to be here, I should be able to do whatever I want, because I don't think anyone should pay $3,000 to see theater. I think that that's astronomically expensive, and I think theater producers know it, and we've talked about that on this channel before. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You were in choice about spending that money. You could have sat in the mezzanine or the balcony and paid significantly less. No matter how much you pay, you are beholden to the same standards of etiquette as everyone in that theater. But second of all, this notion that, like, I get to do whatever I want because I've spent money to be here and I'm attending the theater. Like, I remember that viral clip of a rowdy audience member getting into a tiff with Patti LuPone from the stage who said, like, I'm paying for your check right now. And it's like, this is absolutely insane. Like, yes, proceeds from your ticket when you go to see a football game technically are going to the football player's salary. It doesn't mean that you can dump beer on them from the sidelines. As a matter of fact, if you try to get anywhere remotely close to the field, you'll get tackled and escorted out of the stadium, which, by the way, is something that I think we should absolutely start incorporating into theater. But yes, this is another just sort of like aspect of this conversation that I want to talk about, because when I say like theater people suck, I'm not talking about people who do theater. I'm talking about the self-proclaimed theater person, the wannabe theater critic, the drunken idiot disguised as a theater fan who ruin the experience and integrity of what theater is by their attitude or by their approach. I recently did a show off Broadway at a place called Theater Row, which is a big building. I forget how many stages there are, somewhere between 3 to 5. But it's kind of like New World Stages where I did Heathers. It's multiple stages in one building. And so whenever an audience is filtering in for an 8 o'clock curtain, they could be coming to one of 5 shows at any given time. So I was between shows. I had a matinee and an evening show. So after the matinee, I just went to this like little dive across the street from Theater Row, and I was getting a drink and having some food. So I'm across the street minding my own business, but again, because it is the dive across the street from Theater Row, a lot of theater goers were across the street there enjoying a meal and enjoying a drink. And I overheard at least 4 conversations of people who were about to come across the street to see shows in this building who were crapping all over the shows that they were about to see, the actors that they were about to see, the experience that they were about to have. This like sense of kind of unchecked privilege, this like armchair quarterbacking of hating something before you even go to see it. This is something I have experienced in many theaters all across the country, but it is rampant in New York. And I don't want to be ageist, but it always seems to be old white people. It is just sort of this notion of like, good old days theater, I deserve to be entertained. Like, why is everyone rapping on Broadway now? What is this experimental theater? Like, why are we talking about racial and ethical and sexual identity issues? Like, theater's become so boring. And it just stinks. It just stinks of... the only word that I can come up with is privilege. And like this privilege idea keeps coming to me. The privilege to just crap all over the arts before you've experienced them. The privilege to just over-imbibe, to drink 5 or 6 beverages before you go to experience a theater, because if you are belligerent, it doesn't matter because you have no respect for the people who are performing for you. The privilege to talk, to take phone calls. I've been in a theater recently where someone took a phone call during the show. And then the privilege to associate the amount of money that you spent on a ticket with the low grade of your behavior, it drives me crazy. It makes me not want to do theater anymore, because I believe in people who do theater, but I don't really believe in the people that we're doing theater for. And the majority of good theater fans are on TikTok and in Omaha or Minneapolis or Lincolnshire, and may not have the time or the energy or the money to get to New York to see Broadway theater. And so there is this bottleneck where only the people who are privileged enough to pay for the tickets and privileged enough to act like a privileged hole are the ones at the theater. And if by the goodness of all that is divine, a few stragglers who aren't privileged holes make their way into the theater, their theater-going experience is disrupted by the belligerent blowhards or by the self-acclaimed theater critics who make the whole experience completely insufferable. And Samantha, your point about like wanting to turn around, wanting to do something, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Because if you don't do anything, you just sit there and you just suffer in silence. But if you do something, you get in a fight. The last time that I saw Hamilton on Broadway, there was a man behind me who would not stop talking about me because I was wearing a hat. When I finally couldn't stand anymore that this man was like talking about me right behind me, I just turned around and I was like, excuse me, sir, I can hear you and you're really bothering me by talking about me. My hat is not obstructing your view. Nothing about what I'm doing is disrupting your theater experience. Please stop talking about me. And he literally got in a fight with me. He would not stop pestering me and whispering in my ear about how kids don't understand theater anymore and how I'm ruining his theater experience by looking like such a slob. He wouldn't stop talking to me. I mean, like, Hamilton was literally not throwing away his shot by the time this man gave up on like picking a fight with me. There was also a time recently where I saw a friend's show. I saw it twice in a row, and both times there was someone who was talking the whole show, and then someone turned around to be like, will you please shut up? And they got in such a fight, and all of them had to get escorted from the theater. So I don't really see what the solution is, because that ruins everyone's experience, but I don't know how to get people to understand that your job when you go to see a show is to sit down, shut up, and watch the art that is being made in front of you through the vehicle of other human beings' bodies, minds, and souls, that maybe it would be extraordinarily disrespectful for you to interrupt.
You are genuinely so right with this damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. And exactly, it's like it makes it so impossible for people who are genuinely trying to go out and enjoy the arts to enjoy the arts. It's hard. I know we've kind of talked about like the usher situation, because like I remember at Wicked, I was feeling like, where are the ushers? Like, well, like how is no one kicking them out? Like they're so belligerent, they're like yelling. But also, theaters are massive, and like ushers are standing against the side walls and at the back of the theater. And I've also heard experiences of ushers being like way too intense for people just like getting something out of their bag and saying like, put your phone away. And then this is a story of a friend of mine, and she not once was ever reaching for her phone. She was getting like tissues and then like chapstick, but like this usher would not leave her alone. So again, it feels like overall we're just kind of at these two extremes. You know, yeah, the one extreme being like the privileged blah blahs, and then the maybe genuinely uninformed, you know, or just in their own bubble folks. It does make me sad, because I got a lot of responses after I posted that stuff on my story from people just genuinely being like, hey, I've never seen a Broadway show. Are they not like concerts? Like, I would have thought that it was like a concert. Like, is that frowned upon, singing along? And so it's one of those things where I, you know, learned how to act in a theater from experiences of going to theater and listening to the pre-show message saying like, hey, don't talk, don't use your phone. But I don't know. I just feel like I've seen so many theories about like how every communal experience has changed since COVID, how like everyone's just focused on their own individual experience and that's all that matters to them. And I really don't know how we like get back more towards the center of it all.
I don't either, Sam. Maybe we should just change this title to Do People Suck?
Honestly. Audience, Sam and Ryan fans, we are very curious to hear your thoughts on this subject matter. This is one of those videos where I feel like it doesn't have a concrete answer or a solution. We are just kind of raising some experiences that we've had and throwing them out there for you to digest. So please let us know in the comments like what you think can fix this cultural problem, or how you would deal with these situations should you find yourself in them.
You know, Sam, we should honestly do videos like this more often, where we just present all of the complaints but none of the solutions.
I think we should. You guys enjoyed this, right? Once again, thank you so much, Hungry Root, for sponsoring this video. Guys, be sure to click the link at the top of the description to get 40% off of your first order. Check out all the information on Hungry Root down below. As always, be sure to like and subscribe. And we will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye, Dad.